Hello friends, hope everybody's doing well. Okay, so in part one of the Toro recycler mower, which has the quantum engine on it, we found that it had a pretty bad rod knock and also it was smoking. I ran it for a while, it still kept smoking, so we changed the oil on it and we minimized the rod knock, and it's actually stopped smoking. So that was a pretty good thing right there. These quantum engines are pretty durable, but in today's video, we were having a problem with the cold start. When I originally got the machines, I got the two machines. I got the Husqvarna and I got the Toro. Had a hard time on the cold start, so I had to prime it. We primed it. We got it to run. It was knocking like I just said and smoking. So today I want to address the choke. It has an automatic choke on it. From what I could tell, the flapper was closing. I don't know if the choke flap was closing all the way or not. We won't know anything else on that until we take it apart. I also discussed the blade, not to be fooled by a rod knock, because the blade is either loose or there's a chunk missing out of it, or the blade could be bent. And another important thing I forgot to mention too, and I got burned a few times. Well, I didn't exactly get burned. I realized that when I went to swap an engine over on other mowers I was working on, the engine mounting bolts, I found a couple where the engine mounting bolts were loose and it was rattling around, sounding like a rod knock. I tightened the bolts up and it was fine. But the only problem with that, sometimes when the bolts come loose like that, it'll crack the deck. It'll crack the deck where the bolt holes are. I did have a couple where they had cracked decks and then the deck was no good. But yeah, that's another important thing you want to check out on that. So what we're going to do today, like I said, is we're going to go out. I'm going to pull the air cleaner housing off, see how the choke is working. We'll also see how the throttle is working too. Make sure it has full throttle while it's not running. And I also want to take the fan shroud off and just make sure that it's all clean in there and everything. And while we have it apart, maybe clean the magneto surface and clean the flywheel surface too while you're in there. You might want to do that too on it. And another thing I forgot to mention was we're going to check the height adjusters, make sure they work properly too, because this machine's going to be fixed up and put out for sale after we complete it. I'm not even happy with the slight rod knock that it has. I may have another plan. I'm not quite sure yet, so I'm not going to talk about that right now. But we'll get outside and get set up. I'll do the cold start first before we do anything, see if it wants to start up cold today. It's in the 50s. I don't know, it's February 8th or 9th. We've been getting weather that's in the 50s. I think overnight it may have went up to almost 60 degrees during the night here. I don't know, it has nothing to do with anything really, but we'll try the cold start first and then we'll take it from there. And I'll see you outside. I'll get everything all set up so we can do the cold start, and then we'll plop the machine up on the bench and start taking it apart. So I added some seafoam to it in part one after we changed the oil, and also I noticed that the carburetor was working fine. There was no surging or anything like that. The only problem we have right now is the cold start. Today is pretty windy. We're going to try the cold start. If it's too windy to continue with this, which I think it's going to be, I'll probably be back in a couple of seconds and we'll do it another day. But let's see if we got a cold start. See how a cold starts today. See, it's all ice cold. Yeah. So got a very little bit of smoke, and the rod knock is like, seems like it's completely gone. I'm not really hearing any loud knocks, but I would have to let it. I think I'm going to put you on pause. I'm going to let it run for a little while and see how it does. As the engine oil warms up, maybe it'll start knocking more. I'm not sure. I'll bring you back in, I don't know, for you 2 seconds, but I'm going to let this run for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We'll see what happens there with it. Well, one commenter commented on part 1 that it could blow up tomorrow, or it can go on like that for a few years, which I agree. You know, like I said before, the Quantum engine's a pretty durable engine. I'm not liking that it's knocking at all, though. You know, but okay. So far on the cold start, I should have started it up as soon as it started. I should have shut it off, because now we can't even check to see if the choke is operating properly, which I'm pretty sure it is, but there's no sense of taking this thing apart now that it ran. I had it running for about 10-15 minutes, and then you just heard it. Now you can still hear the knock in it. So I think we're just going to continue another day with this, probably tomorrow. I'll let the engine get nice and cold again, and then we'll take everything apart that I said we were going to take apart on it. So, alright, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, which will be about 2 seconds for you. Okay, so it started up on the second pull after we changed the oil on it. We don't have all that oil passing through the piston rings, and it probably made more compression too. So what I want to do now is I'll show you the how the automatic choke works, and also I want to take the top shroud off, make sure everything's clean it up, and I want to go over the coil. We'll be removing the coil, cleaning the coil, and the contact on the flywheel too. So I think I got you in here pretty good. The sun glares a little bad this morning. So what you want to do first is you'll take a Phillips head screwdriver here, and you'll have 2 Phillips head screws here that you want to remove. A little bit of dirt in there too. Then we have one more on this side here. It's just held in with 2 screws here. Get this out of the way. Right now I'm just trying to get this starter handle out here. We got it. Take the air filter housing off, which I mentioned in part 1. It has the wrong air filter in it. And make sure you're still kind of in view here. Yeah. I have to see if I have a filter for it laying around somewhere. I'm not really sure. See, this is way too small here for the application here. Okay, now we're going to take out the screws that hold the inner part of the air filter here. what we're going to do too is the height adjusters. I'm going to take some WD-40 and spray all the adjusters first before we move on. Sometimes the adjusters are just so seized, rusted, that sometimes you may have to take the wheel off to be able to work the height adjuster. We got one more screw. There's 3 screws, and I'm using the 5/16 socket on them to get them off. Then you'll have the crankcase breather hose. You're just going to want to pop that off. See, we're going to have to clean all this up here, all full of dirt. I'll do all that cleaning off camera. Okay, so then what you want to do is you want to take the gas tank assembly off here, and you have 3 5/16 socket you'll be using to get these bolts out here. And I think we'll just take it off altogether. You do have a bolt under here that's a 3/8 with a spacer. I think I might take that off too. I don't know yet. I might want to go in and get the magnet, because these bolts here sometimes are pretty hard to pull out here. So yeah, I'll be back to you in a second or two. Okay, so let's get on with it. That bolt got stuck down in there now. Now I got it. Like I said, there's 3 bolts here. You'll be using the 5/16. They have some kind of shoulder on them too, so you can't mix them up with the bolts that hold the backing of the air filter on. I'll get the magnet now before I drop this thing down in there again. These are a little bit of a pain if you have sausage fingers like I do here. And then I'll take my 3/8 socket on the extension here, and I'll just take this right off. You could actually fold this back if you want to work on it that way, but since we're recording here, I'll just do it this way. Sometimes you'll have a spacer here, and you don't want to lose that. It's the bolt that goes through the it goes through, and then there's a spacer here, and you just line the spacer up, back up, and bolt it back in. I think we may change out the fuel line here. I have to take a better look at it. I might at least do that. I'm not really sure yet though. So, alright, next thing we're going to want to do is take this cover off. Here. And it's 4 3/8 socket you'll be using. There's 4 bolts. There's one here, 2 to go straight down. Sometimes the bolts are different sizes, and then I'll show you. One's longer than the other. So, keep that in mind. I don't know if they were 7/16. I haven't had one of these apart in a while. I don't know if they were 7/16 or 3/8. Yeah, 3/8. You'll most likely just be working with 3/8 and 5/16. And we're gonna want to unbolt the dipstick tube here too. I think we'll do that next. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take and I'm gonna blow this off with some air first. This is really full of crud. So we'll do that and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so you don't have to take the dipstick out all the way. What I normally do is I just unbolt it here. Oh. Wow, that's tight. I have to get the ratchet. I'm sure I'm in your way. So what you want to do is you want to take this bolt completely out here. I know my arm's in the way and I'm sorry. I'm only taking the bolt out. Okay? So it's not a big deal here. This bolt that holds this on, the oil filler tube here, or dipstick tube, whatever you want to call it, are the same bolts as what held the gas tank support on here. So what I normally do is I just push this around, right? You just make sure you shove it back in the hole there. This way you don't get any dirt into the crankcase here. And now we can move on to getting the shroud bolts out. I forgot myself which are the longer bolts. As I said before. What do we have here? Wrong socket on here now. We gotta put the 3/8 socket back on. Yeah, I think these two in the front here are the longer bolts. It looks like so far. But then you never know. Somebody else might have had this apart once too. Just throttle assembly bracket here. One of the bolts goes through that and then into the housing. Sometimes you might have to bend this back just a hair to clear everything. Not always, though. Then we have the 2 bolts back here that are facing downward. Okay, yeah, so the two longer bolts go in the front of the housing here, and the two shorter ones go in the back that are facing down. Just to let you know. Yeah, we got one more bolt to go here. The other thing that's important too, with the pull start cord, well, no, it doesn't matter. Forget what I just said. Okay, so we got the fourth bolt out here. And now you should be able to just lift the cover right off. And like I said before, with this throttle assembly bracket here, I'm just going to take a screwdriver and just bend it forward just a little bit. Pretty clean up here for the most part. Not bad at all. I'll show you the throttle and the choke right now. Okay, so what you have here is you have the flapper. Where's my hand? The flapper's in here, and you want the flapper to be in a position where it closes the hole here, and which it is. Okay? And then you have this linkage here that goes up into here. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so right here you have the choke stove, which goes down behind the exhaust here. I think it actually goes into the exhaust. So as the engine warms up, you can see the lever moving. So when the engine's warmed up, that means that the choke flap will be wide open. So there's no problem here. Everything is closing up properly here. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray up all the linkage with WD. It felt like it was binding just a little bit, but not enough to affect anything here. And we'll walk around to the other side here, and I'll show you the throttle, which is going to be pretty hard to say. I'm not going to really be able to show you because the throttle's underneath here. And what it is on the first start, whether it's cold or warm, the throttle will be set wide open, and then when the engine starts, the governor will pull the throttle to its normal running RPM here. So sometimes you get these machines where they have sat around for a long time, and what you want to do is spray some WD-40 where the flapper is in here. You can spray inside the throat of the carburetor, and you could dislodge it that way. Sometimes you have to take the flapper off and pull the whole shaft out and clean it all up and lubricate it to get it working again. But this all seems to be working good. So next we'll move on to the coil. The coil's pretty clean. You would have to take off this choke assembly to do it, and also judging by the flywheel contact. Okay, so some of this looks the same, like here. That looks the same. That looks the same. This is your coil contact part of the flywheel here, which is very clean. And if you're not sure which part it is, just take a screwdriver and it'll be magnetic. See? This part, this part, this part. And then you would line this up with the coil, and then you would stick like a business card in there to adjust the coil. I think it's like 10,000ths of an inch, but a business card is like 10,000ths of an inch. I just use a business card all the time. I don't bother with anything else. So I took the tank out of the way here, and I do have some fuel line, and I am going to replace the fuel line. The fuel line's very stiff here, and also you got to watch out. Like on older machines, what happens is the fuel line will start coming apart inside here, and little particles get into the carburetor here. So I'm not going to take any chances with this. I'm just going to replace it. I do have a little bit of fuel line, and it's a 1/4 inch fuel line you're going to use, and always use your clamps. You can reuse these spring clamps or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what else. I guess I'm just going to put this thing back together. I'm going to clean this. I got to blow this out again. I'll blow this out again with the air hose here. And I have a couple of other things left to do. I might come back to you. I'll see how these height adjusters move. I'll show you how I do them. You know, if we have to take the wheel off and service them. I'm hoping that the WD-40 works in there, and then I could just get them to work. I mean, these are all the things you want to do before you sell it, because you look like an idiot when you go to sell a machine. Well, the height adjusters work, and then the buyer can't even move them. You know, you have to make sure you have all that situated. I am going to sharpen the blade. You saw the blade was good on it. If anybody wants to see part 1, to where it ran really bad and it was smoking, and then we changed the oil on it, I'll leave a link to that. I'll pin it in the comments if you want to check that video out. But there's really nothing else to do. It's just reverse procedure. I'm putting it back together here. Let's see how far we get, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so we're all back together with the top half of the engine there. The 2 front height adjustments, they work pretty good. So spraying them up while we're doing other things helped a lot. The 2 in the back are a little hard to move, but they do move. So the easiest way I found to do this is to pull the wheels off the back. So for this, these are, you'll be using a 1/2 inch socket to get these wheels off. And they're easy, you just unbolt them here. They should have made these levers here higher. You know, they're a little bit hard to get to, so you want to make sure that they're working pretty good. You know? So what you want to do is just get some more spray in there. This way you can work them a lot better with the wheel off. See how it's binding some? So if you just keep going back and forth with them, you should be able to get them to work pretty easy. You want these to work easy here. Even if you have to override it, just keep working it. Give it a little more spray. I'm spraying in between here and the plate. See how easy it's moving now? That's what you want. Make sure you get all the dirt and grime out of there. Like I said, I hit it with the air hose first. Then I took some brake clean before, and I sprayed it. And then I hit it with the WD-40. And like I said, it started working. All right, see how easy that is? That's how easy you want it to be. Because like I said, this lever is a real pain to get to with the wheel on, you know? But now it's really easy. So I think it was set on 3. The front set on 3, so we'll leave it at that. The new owner could just adjust it anywhere he wants to. See how easy that is now? Cool. Nice. So these are the things you want to do, you know, to resell the mower. It's too cold out to do anything. I might do some touch-up painting. I usually like to paint the engine. I paint them black. What I do is I'll degrease the whole machine, and this back flap here is faded. So I would just hit that with some black paint real quick. And under here, it's still pretty solid. You can't see it really, but here, let me just show you real quick. This is my tie for the kill cable here. Yeah, you can see how this is all faded. So what I'll do is I'll just take some black paint and I'll paint that. And then I think I have some red paint. You see how rusty that is in there? I'll just probably hit it with a wire brush or something to get some of that off, and just hit it with, I can paint it black too, you don't even see that. But yeah, so what we'll do right now is I'll do the other side off camera, get the adjuster working good, and we'll give it one more startup. And I don't know if I mentioned it, if anybody wants to watch part 1, I'll put the link to that. I'll pin it in the comments, and I might put it in the descriptions too. Well, we'll see. The description, I mean. Alright, so I'll be back to you shortly. Well, it looks like we won't be using the Graveleys this year for snow plowing so far. It's, what's today? Now today's Valentine's Day. This is the first time I got back to doing this mower. Yeah, so like I was talking about before, I think I did it off camera. I just took some WD-40 and I sprayed all the linkages, the throttle plate, the choke plate. I sprayed all that up. I replaced the fuel line. It might have a little hard time starting now because I think I got, yeah, well, I know I got WD-40 into the carburetor throat. Let's see how it starts. Yeah, all right. I'm wondering if I overfilled the oil on this thing. I'm not really sure. I'll check the oil real quick. I may have. Very possible that I did overfill the oil with this keen eyesight that I have here. Did that go down? Didn't know if that went down. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I overfilled it, but not by much. It does smoke a little bit when we first started it here, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure. About the WD-40 that I sprayed into the throat. That could have been it. Anyway, I'll keep an eye on this thing for a while now. I think we have about another month to go. I did forget to sharpen the blade while I had it up on the table. Forgot to do that. Needs a good cleaning. I'm going to sell this less. Yeah, I'm going to sell it for less money than I normally would. It's a good mower. It should be okay. I don't see any problems with anybody buying it and having good luck with it. I hope this video helps somebody out. If I forgot to mention anything, what to do to prepare a lawnmower for resale, just let me know. Those were all the things I could think of. What else? Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm going to see if I could take the bagger. I may be able to soap it up, scrub it a little bit, because it was sitting outside. I might be able to clean that part up. There's some blue paint on the side here. But I think I got some red paint that pretty much matches this mower. So I might just take and give it a quick touch up with some paint. And like I said, I hope this helps somebody out. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you all on the next one.